speaking of worse, the Titans, despite having the first overall pick in the draft with Cam Ward, I thought they were going to be better this year. So far, they're 0-3. Here's Brian Callahan on whether he's seen growth from the team over the past 3 weeks.
There's still plenty of good things on our football team, and again, the losing games is what magnifies the negative things, and it's hard to get excited about things. But I really don't think we're far away as a football team from winning games, and that's the belief you have to have, and that's the belief that I have and our players have. And when you get into these moments, that's what you have to fall back on. Whether or not anybody else believes it is really irrelevant, because they're not in there every day, and they're not the ones in the locker room. And you have to be able to believe in what you have in order to climb out of the hole on top of it. So there's things that are close, and I think that we're closer than maybe it seems, but that's usually how it happens before you turn, and then we got to find a way to turn it.
That's just talk, right? That's just word salad. The team's 0-3, and I was troubled for the Titans by the comments from Colts receiver Michael Pittman Jr. that during pregame warmups they got the sense that they didn't want to play, and we know that we can tell, like players especially. You're down on the field, you can get vibes, and the Colts got it. Now the fact that they won 41-20 reinforces your thinking, but it's just not going well. And when you got a GM who came in after Brian Callahan was hired, you got a guy who's fully in charge of the football operation there, who got the keys to the car after Brian Callahan was hired. And I know that it's harsh, but it's reality. 25% of the guys are going to get fired at the end of the season, by the end of the season. 1 or 2, maybe more, are going to get fired during the season. We know it. So we're being naive if we act like it can't happen. And right now, Brian Callahan's right up there with Mike McDaniel as the guys most likely to be relieved of their duties at some point during the season. It just feels inevitable for the Titans. And if they lose to the Texans this week, and hey, the Texans, should win the game, but if they fall to 0-4 and they get embarrassed, who knows? It could come as soon as next week.
And it's those little things like you talked about, Michael Pittman Jr. By him saying that just it's a bad feeling for everyone around the organization. If you're an owner, you're a GM, and you hear that, you're like, what? Like, we have this young quarterback that we just took first overall. We might not win games, because when you look at their first 3 games, they lost to Denver, they lost to the Rams, and they lost to the Colts. So it's like, I'm not sitting here saying they should have won one of those games. But I think when you look at week 1, the way they played against Denver, I thought it was a little encouraging. It's like, okay, like they fought, they stuck around the Rams game. They hung around for a little while, and the Rams ultimately pulled away. This game, it was a no-show. So now I think you start to feel like, do they not believe in a head coach? And none of this has to be true, but that's how things are going to be viewed on the outside looking in, because those are the things ownership looks at of how the team is responding. What do they look like? How practices go? I think that's the things you're going to start to see. And the more it gets talked about, the worse it'll be for Callahan.
Hey, the best news for the Titans, they're on the road for the next 3 weeks, so their fans aren't going to have to endure any more of what we saw. But after visits to the Texans and the Cardinals and the Raiders, all on the road, week 7, guess who's coming back to Tennessee? Guess who's coming back? Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. They never should have fired him.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to prove that to them. And I don't know whether or not Brian Callahan's going to be coach of the team when Vrabel comes back to town. Right now, I think the jury's out on that question. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.